Video's good today. Excellent. Look at everybody. How's everybody doing? Let me share my screen. All right. Just give me a heads up when you want me to get started.
We're looking pretty good. Just if, Mr. Tom, if you could give us a quick intro. I think we have a few people that are doing this for the first time, so maybe let them know what you do and where you do it and how long. And then, oh my goodness, this looks adorable.
Yeah, we got a fun one today.
Yeah.
So welcome to all the new artists. I think I see a few friends. Is that Caroline? How you doing, Caroline? Demi, there she is. How you guys doing? So my name's Tom Gately. I am an animator and a character designer. I worked at Disney for about 11 or 12 years, and I've been at Pixar for about 15 years, something like that. The years are starting to stack up on me. And I worked on, the first movie I worked on was Lion King. I worked on Pocahontas and Mulan and a whole slew of other movies. My first one at Pixar was Cars, and then Ratatouille. And I've always been drawing since I was a little kid, and I'm even teaching a class at Pixar these days, a drawing class. So I thought while we were in lockdown, we could have these little classes, and I'll show you guys some tips and pointers from how to draw like an animator. So today we had a couple of good suggestions for characters to draw, and we have one of my favorites, an Eeyore. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit to show you guys. I always like to do a little bit of research to figure out what the original art was for a character. So the drawings on the left, the pencil drawings, are from Ernest Shepard, who illustrated the books of Winnie the Pooh. And I just think his drawings are so charming. So I just wanted to put those in there. And I should let you guys know that these lessons are being recorded, so you can go back and revisit these, because I do draw a little bit quickly just so that we can get some fun drawings in. All right, and now I think we will draw this guy. I just need to position him up a little bit higher. I need a new layer to draw on. All right. So does everybody have their pencils and erasers and everything? Just gotta loosen up a little bit. I want everybody to draw really nice and big. I know when we're a little bit nervous, we tend to kind of hunker down, our shoulders get uptight, and then we hold the pencil too tight and things get a little too stiff. So just keep it nice and loose. And my approach is to always try to draw the biggest shapes first. So I'm gonna draw on Eeyore real quick just to show you what I'm kind of looking at. So I'm drawing in green, and his body is the biggest shape by far. So the overall shape of his body is pretty simple. Just kind of like a squashed egg. I'm actually going to try to draw about the same size that Eeyore is right above me. And I'm just going to draw a modified, almost like a square. It's squarish. It's a little bit rounded, like a boulder or something like that. I'm trying not to give it too much anatomy at this point, just a big, simple shape. And try to draw quickly so you don't second guess yourself too much, and stay away from those erasers right out of the gate. All right, so the next shape, I'm just gonna highlight here too. There's sort of, in every cartoon drawing, there's a sphere that we use to represent the skull. So I'm gonna connect the body to that head shape. So I'm gonna draw his neck. The neck is just kind of a rectangle, not a very big shape at all. And then I'm going to draw that sphere, and you'll see we'll connect other shapes to this, and we'll start building our drawing as we go along. But right now it looks kind of funny, but this is just the early step. This is kind of what we call the blocking stage. So from here, I'm going to find his nose, but the overall shape I'm drawing is really just kind of like a pear shape that's connected to that sphere. And we'll get in all the details and the mouth and everything and the eyes in a little bit. But before we do that, I just want to kind of block in the big shapes. And the fun thing about Eeyore is that he's sort of a stuffed animal. So his legs, and drawing donkeys and horses is always really tricky with their hooves and everything. So I'm just going to draw the stuffed arm that's farther away. It looks like on the front, it's kind of folding in because he's standing on it and he's got some weight on that leg. The other leg coming, I'm gonna draw that inside arm first. Coming back up, there's a little wrinkle. I'll just lightly indicate that. I'll come back and do all these details later on. And I am gonna block in that little seam just to give it a little sense of dimension. Do it on the other leg too. These all stitched together like a stuffed animal is. Same thing here. This is a little trick I've explained before. I'm looking at, oh, I don't know if you can see that. I'm looking at the shape between his legs right there, that sort of square shape. And what that does, that's called a negative shape, and that helps me keep my proportions nice and correct. And it's just a secondary shape that I can use to get my reference points nice and accurate. All right, we've got his forelegs, we've got his body, we've got his neck, and we got his head. I think we should draw his ears. So right from the sphere, sort of on top right here, I'm gonna draw a long, almost like a baseball bat shape. And I find drawing the individual shapes is never really that hard. It's once you start combining lots and lots and lots of shapes, that's when the tricky part starts to happen. So you're just gonna break it down into simple shapes at first and really look at what you're drawing. I think you'll have a little bit more success. So now he's starting to look like a donkey. We've got the ears. We can put a little bit of his mane on. I like how the hair and the top here kind of flops forward like that. We'll do just 3 or 4 little strands. And then sort of in the middle here, we're just doing little zigzaggy shapes because it's just all crazy. And then they kind of start bending the other way. And again, this is all just kind of rough and loose. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. So we're gonna put in, I think we're ready for the eye. I'm going to erase a little bit because I have those structure lines in there and I just want to kind of clear that space up so I don't have an eye that's too scribbly. And Eeyore is always so sad. Got those sad eyes. So I'm going to try to get that with a little teardrop shape. This is his eyelash. Or is it a her? It might be a girl. I'm not sure. And I'm going to darken up. This is sort of when the drawing comes to life. He's looking sort of back at us across. Looks kind of sad. I'm going to put in his eyebrow, also tilted up. He's sad. He's got a little wrinkle underneath his eye. Now you can tell these shapes are getting really small and precise, right? I'm going to put his little nostril in here. And just like I did for the eye, I'm going to erase a little bit on the bottom of his chin here, just to give myself a little room to draw that little frowny face. And he's just got a little bit of an open mouth and his lip is kind of puckered out there. And I'm going to draw that line that goes across his muzzle that sort of separates the colors. And you guys can probably color this in later. And or else just finish them. And I'd love to see all your drawings. If you want to share with me on Instagram, that would be awesome. I love seeing all your work. All right, some more bells and whistles. Let's put on his tail. I think his tail, I'm looking back at the reference now, I think his tail is kind of nailed on, which I think is really cute. So put a little bit of a nail, a super small shape. I know it doesn't have it in the image above, but I think we can add it in there just for fun. We've got a little bit of the bow, so I just draw where the knot is, so just a little circle. And then pretty big, just a triangle shape for the bow. And then we've got the fun part of the tail, which is just kind of a tuft, which you can have lots of fun with. All right, so now this is really, we finished sort of the block end phase. I'm gonna take my eraser. Again, I'm gonna erase some of those construction lines that we needed to draw to get the volumes right. And I'm just gonna clean up my drawing a little bit, touch them up a little bit more. Put some wrinkles in, maybe darken in a few places. I'm gonna darken up his ear a little bit. His belly line kind of comes across here. And I'm gonna put little, this is a kind of fun part where we can put little details in where the seam of his arm has little stitches. And you can just put little tick marks going across and it looks like he's sewn together. That's kind of a fun little detail to put in there. Like I said, I'm gonna leave mine sort of black and white. You guys can color yours in. And I think we're looking pretty good here, you guys. Maria, are there any questions out there? Ooh, I'm gonna erase a couple of these extra little lines in here too.
I don't think there's any questions right now. And again, we have been very actively posting all of these videos on the on-demand page for Tom's class, VFit. So you can come back to this one again and share it with your family and all that good stuff. And then I'll put Tom's Instagram handle here so you can share it with him there as
awesome.
Well.
All right. I think we went through that one pretty quick. We might have time for a third drawing today, I think. Let me see some of your drawings, you guys. Hold them up to your cameras. How'd everybody do? Awesome. Excellent. Well done, everybody. You guys are budding animators. Let's check them out. All right. Don't be shy, don't be shy. Excellent. All right. So for project number 2, I thought we could go back to a little bit of one of the original Pixar movies. And we can draw Flick. I don't know if you guys know this one too well. You guys remember him? Thumbs up. Since you're all muted. Yeah, you guys remember Flick? So just like with Eeyore, I went back and tried to find some of the original artwork. So when we, who's the gerbil? That's awesome. So the original art, when we first have this story, we don't really have an idea of how the movie will look or how the characters might look. So we will get some freelance artists, and I'll just zoom in here a little bit. These are some of the first drawings of Flick. And you can tell he kind of looks like the finished product, but not totally. And then once it gets refined a little bit more, it goes to another artist. And then after about 2 years, and a lot of artists touching their hands, you get the final design, which is what the colored version is here. So grab a piece of paper or find a fresh spot on your paper. And I think Flick will be fun because it really kind of gives you the idea of how even when you draw a human, you use the same basic structure, okay? So his head, to me, looks like it's the biggest shape on him. So, and it's kind of a same kind of shape as Eeyore's body. So I'm just gonna block in. Again, I'm drawing kind of right next to it so I can judge the size a little bit more accurately. I'm gonna try to draw that little boulder in there. And again, I don't have to be perfect at this stage. I'm just trying to get the shape about the right proportion. And I'll build in all the life and energy and then use my eraser later to refine it. All right, so his body, or I should say his thorax, right? You know your insect anatomy. Sort of a teardrop shape, but going up. And there's a little bit of a curve to it. And I'm trying to judge how big the head shape was versus the body shape at this point. Since we only have 2 shapes. And again, I'll just reinforce, this is why I draw the big shape first, is I can always say, well, it's not as big as the head, right? So now his abdomen is bigger than his chest, but not as big as his head. And right now, these are just kind of flat shapes. I'll put sort of a center line, and that gives it a little bit more of a 3-dimensional effect. I also teach in my drawing class, it's always good to get the character grounded on the surface. Looks like Flick is kind of landing more on his right leg than his left leg. And I'm just gonna draw in sort of like a rounded shape for the foot. I'm not gonna worry about all the details or anything. Now that we've got this leg shape, and his legs are really just kind of long matchstick kind of shapes. There's a little bit of a taper in the middle, and it gets sort of bigger where the joints are. And real ants in life are like that too. Same thing, I'm just gonna, so this foot is coming out at us with some foreshortening, which is tricky. I'm just gonna draw kind of a modified teardrop shape. And we'll get to the details. If my character might be a little bit different than the one next to it, and we can refine it as we go. So I'm just gonna, again, use that trick of, I'm gonna highlight right here. It's not dark enough. So that the shape, yeah. Between his arm and his body, that's sort of what I'm looking at. So a little matchstick shape here. Arm is bent down. He's got his hands on his waist. Looks pretty confident. And for his hand, I'm just gonna draw a simple circle, that's it. And even the one that's kind of on this side, maybe a little bit more squarish in this view. But I'm gonna put the hand there first because I know it's on his hip. And then I'll connect the arm. I'm gonna go back and connect it to his body, just like that. And we have one more connection point. It's hard to see. He's got a little neck in there. I'm just gonna put in a little tiny bit of a rectangle in there. And now that we've got the main part set up, I'm confident now to go forward. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit more. Oh, let's block in real quick the antennas. So we'll get one sort of right in the middle of his head, and that's sort of bent. Not so much at a right angle, but you can have lots of fun. Put these in all kinds of different poses. And then this one is up a little bit higher, kind of coming down like that. Nice and loose. All right, so the face and the features. I'm going to put a little bit of a structure line for the eye line. And I'm just going to divide our initial sphere pretty much into 2 equal halves. For the far eye, I'm going to put in just a curved line because it's sort of tucked behind his nose. And I'm going to put in that little nose right now. And then his other eye is really nestled in there. Make it kind of big, a little bigger. It's better than too small. These eyes, because they're so big, they tend to be pretty appealing and cute. I'm going to put another sphere for his pupil in here. And again, it's sort of tucked behind that nose, whereas this pupil is not. Right in the middle. And all of a sudden, Flick's starting to come to life. And it looks like I'm going to do his eyebrow, which is really just a curved shape on top of the eye. And I'll come back in here and erase some of the structure lines out when we're ready, not just yet. Another eyebrow on the other eye. Curved line, gotta make it kind of lift up like he's really happy. Got a little bit of a line here. Now for the smile is really just kind of a modified triangle. I'm gonna find the corner. It's kind of right under the pupil. I'm doing the top part of the smile. It's just a line coming all the way across, and then the other corner is also right under his pupil. I'm gonna look for those little landmarks to help me know how big the shape of the mouth is. Now I'm gonna come back under. And now it looks like he's got a full set of teeth, so I'm gonna darken in the corner of the mouth over there. Get those teeth in there, and this is sort of real detailed fine work. I might have to zoom in a little bit because I'm struggling with my control here. And there's a little space between the teeth. I'm gonna darken up the eye while I'm here. Maybe the middle of the eye. Get his cheek a little bit rounder. This is where I'm really kind of refining a little bit. And then I'm going to darken up the corner of the mouth to highlight that smile. Looks like he's got a little bit of a cheek wrinkle here. And I bet he's got a few little freckles. And now I think I'm going to take my eraser just to clear things up a little bit. Get some lines that I don't want in there. And darken up some lines that I do want in there. All right, so don't get frustrated with the face. Facial features are pretty tricky, and you just have to kind of keep practicing. And the biggest rule is to just think of the simple shape and block it in as best you can, and just keep, oops, something happened there technically. And just keep practicing. I've been drawing for about, I'm 51, so maybe 46 years. So a long time, and it's taken me a long time to get these shapes right. And used to drawing faces and things, which can be a little bit intimidating. I'm just going in and emphasizing certain shapes. I'm gonna get a color white to get that little highlight of the eye, which is always a fun part. All right, I'm gonna zoom back out. Oh, we can put a few other details in there. I think as I zoom in, I didn't notice it when I zoomed out, but a couple of the lines across his body. So it looks like they're just kind of divided in thirds, it looks like. So I'll just kind of block those in real quick. Don't have to get too fancy with those. Looks like some divisions on his abdomen here. I'm just going to focus on the ring shapes. And I might put in a little detail for the hand. I'm not too worried about it because I kind of feel like we've got the essence of this pose, the feeling of Flick standing there. Now, if you want to go in there and put some more details in there, feel free. He's got a few divisions on his feet too. Just lines kind of coming across. Looks like he's got a couple, 2 or 3 toes. And because we blocked in such simple shapes, now putting in the details comes so much easier. We've sort of done the hard work of finding out, where everything is. But I've found the biggest problems, even with Pixar artists, when I'm teaching in class, is that people tend to focus on the details far too quickly. And a big tripping point is drawing the head and the eyes and all the features first and then relating everything else to that. I find that to be really hard. So I'm just kind of reiterating just to draw those big simple shapes up front and then build back into your character, and eventually you'll get all the life and the expression that you need. All right, that was kind of like my second time drawing Flick. All right, can I see some of your drawings, you guys? How did everybody do? Awesome. Oh my gosh, you guys. Look at that. Great flicks. Nice, Emmy. Oh, Christine's out there too. Excellent. Well done, everybody. You're gonna have to buy a lot of frames. Put those in frames. Excellent. So we've got about 5 more minutes. Do you guys want to do one more really quick one? A really quick sketch? All right. We had a request for Minnie Mouse. You guys caught me practicing. I was practicing a little bit. Because I have not drawn Minnie Mouse, I don't think ever. Maybe like an hour ago I did a quick one. So let's do this real quick. So the first thing I notice is with Mickey and Minnie, the head shape is really just kind of a very simple circle. Just keep it nice and loose though. I've got a lot of scratchy lines around mine. And I think this is pretty much the biggest shape. And you can't see her body too well, so just follow what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put in sort of like a kidney bean shape with another circle for her hips. And eventually we probably won't see many of those lines, but that's just to help with the structure, okay? And again, she's standing on her two legs. So I'm gonna get those down. Really feel like I'm gonna draw the ring around the inside of her shoe. And she's got those heels on. So again, once I get the character kind of standing on a surface or a ground plane, then I start feeling it becomes a little bit more real to me. And I can sort of imagine the space that she's standing in. These are just kind of simple, quick little shapes. And I'm going super fast, you guys, so I apologize. But all right, here we go. Let's get her ear shape. Just another circle. Her other ear, this is where I use that trick again. I'm looking at this kind of a vase shape between the ears. A good check. And I'll help you see kind of like how an artist sees. So I'm actually going to start really kind of that close so I get my proportions right. And now I think she's got a bow. Just like I'm going to draw that far part first. There's a little bit of overlap here, which can be tricky. So I'm just really drawing the abstract shapes. Sort of another teardrop shapes. I think teardrops and pear shapes and just kind of organic shapes. So fun ones to draw. So I'm going to draw her cheek line, this smile line, and then sort of divides up her face. So it's just kind of like a curved line that goes about right underneath the bow. And then that straight line that goes up here. So that looks kind of funny right now. I'm going to draw her nose out here, which is just sort of a rounded shape. The smile comes sort of right into the middle. And then there's a sort of a cheek wrinkle because she's so happy. For her nose, I'm going to draw just like a shape that almost looks like a grape or some kind of fruit like that. And her nose wrinkle points directly at her eye, so I'm going to darken that in. Get her eye, and then she's got 3 long lashes. You can go for her smile, which is really just a U shape with a little tongue in there, and then you can darken that in to get it really feel like she's smiling. A little bit of detail work, and we're going to draw her shoulder. So in these early cartoons, they would use a lot of tube shapes. Her hand is really just, you can draw a circle. Same thing for her other hand. I'm just drawing a big circle where the arm is, or the hand. And then I'll go back in and put the details of the fingers after. It looks like she's got her dress, and her dress just kind of wraps around in this curved line shape. So we are going really fast, you guys. And then the final detail of her pants here, it kind of just looks like flower petals or something like that. And then I'll put in little details for the fingers. Boom, boom, boom. Front finger here, front finger there, and a little pinky over here. And whammo, a drawing in 4 minutes. So, like I said, if I went too fast for you, you guys can go back to the videotape, as they say. But we did 3 pretty hard drawings, you guys, so well done. Congratulations. Can I see your Mickey or minis? Excellent. Good job, everybody. I hope you had fun out there. Great seeing some friendly faces out there. This is awesome, you guys. Thanks for taking the class.
Tom, that was awesome. I mean, I really do believe like that drawing fast It really does make you just like let go and of drawing so
Yeah.
much. You sit there and think about it.
There's part of your brain that really wants to be perfect with everything. And if you go too fast, that part of your brain quiets down and it lets you think like an artist, you know. It's
Yeah,
hard to
and-
do though. You have to force yourself to draw quickly.
Yeah, and you mentioned you're teaching a Pixar drawing class right now too?
I teach sort of on and off. So I'll go like every, I think we set it up to do 10 weeks on, 10 weeks off kind of a thing. We have ongoing education at Pixar called Pixar University, or PU.
Mhm.
So I've been teaching a gesture class there for, gosh, I don't know, 6, 7 years, something like that.
Very cool. Well, this is such a treat. So thank you so much for this.
Absolutely, it's so great. I know especially for newcomers, it's a little intimidating to just dive in and start drawing. And you guys are all doing great. From all the drawings I've seen, it's really, really fun to see.
Thank you so much.